So let's talk about the front of the pit, specifically those first 3 or 4 rows. This is where the highest level of competition is in the pit because this is where you get the best view of the artist. If you're on the very front row along the barrier, you can land up with really nasty bruises the next day from being pushed up against it. Also, if you're wearing really nice outfits, expect this to be the area where the most amount of cups of water might land up being spilt onto your head by accident as they're trying to get the water out into the back of the crowd. The solution I found best actually for me, where I found to be quite safe, surprisingly, and to give me a great view as a short person, is actually right at the back of the circle pit because I'm able to see over the crowd onto the main stage. I'm able to engage within the pit at any time that I want. I'll pull myself back if I find that it's getting a little bit too much. I know there's been a lot of discussion online about what is a great circle pit and what is just crowd killing. I know that there are some scenes where it's acceptable to do windmills and more karate-based moves. I find it's one of those things where we all need to collectively read the room as to whether we do those dance moves in this pit or whether it's one where we decide that we don't want to participate in that pit for our own safety. If you see the crowd beginning to split and line up like Moses is part of the waters, I highly recommend that if you're not experienced to get out of the way. The sides of the pit are quite safe. You can exit at any time in most venue designs. However, if you are in one of these spaces, please understand that humans are going to need to come past you. I've personally found it quite frustrating with some of the etiquette that I've seen recently in pits, which haven't allowed people to move into the rest of the, festival area. People might need to go in there because they want to get into the circle pit right in the middle, or it could be that they've got a friend that needs their support. So if you are in these spaces, be prepared that you might be getting people crossing in front of you or moving around you. Now, hitting and bumping into people is kind of a natural thing in the mosh pit. If somebody does fall over, pick them up straight away. If somebody does get injured in the pit, stop what you're doing, make eye contact with the people around you, and try and create as much space as possible to keep them safe until medical can arrive. While bringing up the fact that we're all in everyone's close personal space in the pit, I can't stress enough, don't cop a feel. Another thing you can do to keep yourself safe is determine what part of the pit you're going to be in. Me and my friends normally go left-hand speaker, and we know that we're going to be generally around this vicinity. You should also decide with your friends where you're going to meet after the show or after that set. Phones are really easy to lose in the pit, and there's often no phone receptions. Talking about losing things, really consider what you wear. If you're planning on being in that pit, wearing a nice new outfit, it's probably not going to be in the same condition when you entered that pit. So think about are these things that you're prepared to potentially get ripped or damaged, wet, soaked or stained. Also, seriously, wear shoes you've worn before and you know are comfortable. The amount of times that I've spent days working at festivals in harm reduction, putting bandages on the back of people's heels, gaffer taping those new big fat demonias back together because they weren't really festival appropriate. Mosh pits get hot as fuck and sweaty and even quite gross sometimes. Make sure you're hydrating throughout the day and really consider what substances you're taking being in these really hot conditions because those really do increase your risk of adverse reactions. Every show in itself also varies in intensity and throughout the day. It depends on the crowd size, who played before, who's played afterwards, what the actual venue is like. Please be aware that mosh pits do have inherent risks. The advice I've given may not be appropriate for you because we all are completely different and have different skills and abilities and experiences, so please take what I've said with a grain of salt.